From Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets meet the Washington Nationals. Steven Matz starts for New York. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on 2016 models. For Fios by Verizon. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Go to getfios.com. By your local Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyOffers.com. By Chase, so you can easily master the way you bank. And by Toyota's One for Everyone sales event, Toyota. Let's go places. Outside Tradition Fields, it's a good day for baseball in the 80s. No precipitation in the forecast. Some acrobatics out there. Head over, pick out a jersey, come see many of the regulars. As we're getting close to the regular season, you'll see players like Duda and Cespedes in the lineup this afternoon. All in your program, keep some score, and enjoy some baseball in Port St. Lucie because the days are numbered at this point until the regular season fires up. Scott Braun and Keith Hernandez welcoming you inside, and a happy Easter Sunday to everyone. And this is 1 week to this day until we start up real play for the Mets in the regular season against the Royals, taking on a team in the Nationals that they'll see 19 times this season. What are players looking to do about 1 week outside of the regular season, Keith?
Well, there's two groups, Scott. The veterans that have the ball club made, it's no sweat. The spring training, you're rounding out your spring. You're trying to turn it into that fifth gear to get it going for opening day. Now, the other side of the ledger is those guys that are trying to make the team, the the Gil Martins, the Matt Reynolds, Johnny Monell, Plawecki. Every game is important to them. They're out there trying to make the ball club, so it's a whole different ball game for them.
Monell is in the starting lineup for the Mets on his birthday. No Asdrubal Cabrera, we should see him in tomorrow's game. He's getting some minor league defensive reps in this one. But Michael Conforto's back, and the back was the problem for him. But this is what we could see as the regular outfield for the Mets during the regular season with Cespedes and Granderson as well.
Well, you don't want to start playing now. So like I said earlier, the final week, you want to kind of round it into shape. Conforto has missed some playing time with a sore back, and that is troubling. He's 23 years of age. You don't like to see that, but he needs to get some reps up there and at bats. There's still a long week left in spring training. He's going to need to be in there and get some swings.
And Steven Matz is also trying to get tuned up. He has an 8.31 ERA in his first 5 spring appearances. What does he need to do in this final week for himself?
Well, he needs to stay away from that bad inning. A bad inning seemed to have plagued him this spring training. He's had 2 starts where he's gotten hammered in 1 inning, and then he's kind of collected himself and pitched well. But it's no guarantee with Matz. Matz came up last year late in the season. He has a lot to prove. This to me is really, because it's his first season from the get-go, is his rookie season. And he's got some pressure on him, a lot of big hype, and a lot to live up to, but he's got good stuff. He needs to have a good start today.
He finished strong on Tuesday, retired the final 7 Yankees that he faced. The Nationals starting Yusmeiro Petit. So last year's top 2 in the division straight ahead on Pix 11.
Hi.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Audi. Visit a tri-state Audi dealer today and get behind the wheel of the Audi model you've always wanted. And Fios by Verizon. Fios is not cable. We're wired differently. Go to getfios.com. Get to Citi Field on Saturday night, April 9th, when the Mets take on the Phillies for the first fireworks night of 2016, presented by Coca-Cola. After the game, fans can enjoy an exciting fireworks show that will light up the sky. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Try Honda around the majors. It's brought to you by your Try Honda dealer. D-backs star outfielder A.J. Pollock. He could be DL bound to start this season. Will Smith's going to miss significant time. Taking off his shoe was the problem. A torn LCL. And Edinson Volquez has been named by his manager Ned Yost as the opening day starter against the Mets a week from today, April 3rd. It's an evening game in KC, and Ian Kennedy will start Game 2 against the Metropolitans. The ballpark here has been packed all month. Another strong crowd. David Wright's in the lineup, hitting second and signing autographs right now. Mets and Nationals coming your way next. That was the beginning of Steven Matz's career with New York, June 28th. At the age of 24 years old, he's up in the major leagues. Also went 3 for 3 at the plate that day and drove in 4 runs. The starting lineups brought to you by Fios by Verizon. Michael Taylor making a statement this spring, hitting .500, switch hitting Danny Espinosa second. Anthony Rendon makes the trip from Vieira. Speed in the lower half of this order. Veterans Reed Johnson and Tony Campana, plus young Trey Turner.
Well, there's the big, tall left-hander, the Long Island native, Steven Matz, who burst on the scene, as you recall, his first game at, I know you remember his grandfather. Jeez, he had a heart attack up there, all those hits. And goose eggs he ran up there in his first professional start. It's been a little rough spring training for Steven. Like Scott said earlier, ERA over 8. The big inning has affected him in this spring training. It's important for him to get a good start here today. is a lovely shot right there. It makes me feel like I maybe want to get in the box, pick up a packs.
That's what he did last year in his 6 MLB appearances, and then 3 in the postseason, 1 per round. There's the 12 earned runs in 13 innings so far this spring. 7 walks, 10 strikeouts. And Keith, that last outing against the Yankees in Tampa, gave up all 5 earned runs in a second inning that he eventually recovered from later on.
And here's your Metropolitan defense, brought to you by Mazda. And Mike Conforto back in the lineup. Cespedes in center field. That is the starting outfield. Neil Walker, Duda, and Wright are the starters. Ahmed Rosario getting the starts today. Manel, who's fighting for a spot behind the plate as a backup catcher, gets the look today.
And Michael Taylor up first for the Nationals. He'll be on the big league roster. 25 years old, just turned 25 on the 26th. The second to last start for Steven. He's going to pitch this coming week in Las Vegas, where he used to play for his former team, the 51s, in that ballpark.
Well, the Nationals, of course, just had a complete fold. Collapsed in front of the big Mets surge last season.
Taylor's bunting left side. It twists foul.
83 and 79 last year. Finished 7 games behind the Mets. The Mets overtook them in that big series at home when they swept them. And I think it was August, late August, and the Mets never looked back. One of the most incredible final 2 months of a season I've ever experienced.
Everything changed for the Mets at the deadline. Wilmer Flores stayed aboard. Hit the walk-off. The Mets had 20 wins in the month of August.
Everybody they picked up, just and called up, did the job.
That's a strikeout for Matz to start off his day strong.
High fastball by Steven here. Looks like a two-seamer. Threw it by him.
So now it's Danny Espinosa. Matt's referred to Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom, Keith, as players that he should emulate by not getting too caught up in a rough inning, which happened the other day against the Yankees. He said they really don't flinch when something goes wrong, and he's trying to mimic that.
Well, he has the least amount of experience on the major league level than the rest of the 5. And he's very young. He's very high-strung when he pitches, I've noticed. And he really gets mad at himself and fights himself when he gives up base hits. And he'll calm down and tone that down as it becomes more, when he becomes more successful. And there's no guarantee with that. And he gets more confident and realizes that he is a major league pitcher. So I like the fire in him. I like the fact that he fights himself and pushes hard. I like that in an athlete.
Terry said time to get tuned up for the regular season. His 3-1 to Espinosa, and the count's full.
Well, Espinosa is going to be their starting shortstop. Ian Desmond opted for free agency, and boy, did Desmond should fire his agent. Offered $100 million. Was it last year, early before the season started by the Nationals?
Short end of the stick.
Did wound up signing a 1-year deal with Texas.
$8 million.
Wow.
Turned down the qualifying offer before free agency started.
And he was a late signee, too. Espinosa, switch hitter. He strikes out way too much. Got a good glove. And remember, with Desmond's at shortstop, he played mostly second base. And he is really one of the best middle infielders defensively. It's all about his offense, which has been subpar.
Last year, the Nationals decided to use him in more of a utility role. Made appearances at second base, third, short, first, and even in left field. It's a hot one, 89 degrees.
Nice try, the slider.
Matz walks Espinosa, and there's a one-out base runner for Washington.
It's the one thing that I see a lot of change in today, Scott, was that when I played, there was a difference between the National League and the American League. The American League was more of a breaking ball league. The National League was more of a power league, pitching-wise. A lot of 3-2 curveballs in the American League, and baseball has become that today. To me, you got one out, no one on base. Espinosa, here's a fastball, hit it. Don't throw a breaking ball and walk from 3-2. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up. I just think guys get too cute sometimes today, and when you get too cute, can you get those secondary pitches over? And I mean quality secondary pitches, not just little spinners, because the major league hitters are going to tee off on them.
Now it's Anthony Rendon.
So anybody will tell you the game hasn't changed. There are those that will try to tell us it has, and it has to minor degrees, but walks will kill you.
That was the 8th time that Matz has given up first base this spring.
Good fastball in. Rendon thought it might have missed. Rendon had an injury-plagued season last year, Scott.
Only ended up playing 80 games.
He's a very talented player. I love his swing. I think he stays healthy. He had a severe knee injury last year that kept him out for a long time. Never really fully recovered. But this guy's a future star.
People forget Rendon, 5th in NL MVP voting just 2 seasons ago. Here comes the 1-2. Sent to right field. Granderson parks under and makes the catch, and that moves Espinosa back to first. It's the second out.
Another fastball in. Got inside on Rendon. So ironically, both outs registered with his fastball in. Four-seamer. Straight gas. Nice.
Now Clint Robinson for the Nationals. 3 home runs in 17 games this month. The Nats have Gio Gonzalez pitching in Vieira this afternoon. This is a split squad. So they bring a few regulars, but many of them staying back. $16 wins, 4 losses, 2 ties for Washington in Grapefruit League action. The Mets are 7-13-4, winless in their last 9.
There's your four-seam fastball. Usually that will stay straight. Up and in fastball is always a tough one to hit.
That was 94 miles per hour from Steven. He's working with Johnny Manel behind the plate this afternoon. Johnny's still with a chance to make the team. Undecided if Kevin Plawecki is going to be on the big league roster.
Good pitch.
And he freezes Robinson for a cold strike 3. 2 Ks to start off the day for Matt and just the 1 base runner. We'll get to the home half of the first and the Mets turn at the plate. The Mets starting lineup is brought to you by Fios by Verizon. Mets regulars in the top 6 in the order, starting with Granderson and Wright. Cespedes, Duda, and Conforto return after a couple days off each. And their top shortstop prospect, Ahmed Rosario at short. No Asdrubal Cabrera yet, hoping to see him in tomorrow's game.
Yusmeiro Petit, former Met, traded to the Marlins in the Delgado trade, had some really couple good years with the Giants. A near miss perfect game 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And here he is as a right-hander. Giants always seem to get the most out of those journeyman players.
Petit's facing Granderson to start off. Signed up with the Nationals this offseason to a one-year deal worth $3 million, a team option for 2017.
He will be in the bullpen, probably long relief for the Nationals. A split squad today, that's why he's starting here. And if you're a long reliever, you know you're going to have stints of 3, 4, 5 innings sometimes early in the ball game. This is a good start for him to stretch out.
Petit was a huge part of the Giants' championship run in 2014. Gave them over 100 innings. ERA in the mid-3s.
You know, when it goes your way, you get people late in the season. Look at the Mets last year. And they help you in that big push.
Granderson lays off the 2-2.
This is what Curtis did great last year. Remember, he walked over 80 times last year in that leadoff spot.
Sends the pitch to center field. Michael Taylor over to his left and now towards the track. He has it.
Well, not knowing which way the wind's blowing, and we'll take a look at the flags after the defense. You can see which direction the wind is blowing. And this is Mazda, brought to you by Mazda. The Mets defense, driving matters. I missed the outfield. And the defense on the infield. Clint Robinson is a backup first base. A lot of non-regulars here. This national lineup, there's the wind blowing right there. I kind of botched that defense. Sorry, folks. But you can see the wind blowing out to left field. The ball's going to carry in that direction today.
Now it's right at the plate. Keith, this is the start of what David hopes to be 4 consecutive games in spring training play.
It is. He's in. You got to play it out. And remember, I was concerned earlier when he wasn't playing, getting the stamina to play 9-inning games. And a lot of standing around, hot weather here now. It's really turned humid the last 3 or 4 days. It's been a very mild spring weather-wise, but now you're getting that humidity, and David needs to build up that leg strength, and that's for the endurance to play not only 9 innings, but hopefully get 130 games out of him this year. I would love that.
1-1, hard to right field, and it's over the wall.
Wow.
That's a 1-run homer for David Wright to give the Mets a 1-0 lead. His first home run of spring training action. It left in a hurry.
Line drives can cut through that wind. It's a crosswind to right field. It's not helping. So that's impressive to see. Fastball, yes it is, certainly is. Too much plate, right down Broadway. David drives it. Nicely done.
Opposite field to the berm.
Well, David always had that power to right field. This is right down Broadway, a ball you can pull or drive the other way. David was set up the other way, and he's so strong.
Now Cespedes hitting third. That was the first extra base hit as well for David this spring. No homers yet for Yoenis, but he's hitting .394, and he hits that ball into the sky in center field for Michael Taylor to come in and record the second out.
Got a little bit off the end of the bat out in front. Cespedes hasn't had a great spring, but I don't put much stock into veterans in their spring training numbers. This will be Cespedes' 5th season in the big leagues, and he's got a track record of 20-plus home runs everywhere he's played, driving in 90 and over, 280, 270 hitter.
Due to miss the past couple games. Neck stiffness. That enabled Wilmer Flores to get some time at first base the other day.
Kind of cut down Lucas's leg kick and his stride. Much, I should say, less exaggerated, his leg kick. We used to call it a different term, but we won't go there. Now we call it leg kick.
One-two coming to Lucas, and that is lined to center field. Taylor chasing, leaps, and comes up with it. A lot of range from young Michael Taylor in center. No one caught this one from David Wright. His first home run of the spring goes the opposite way over the right field wall for his first extra base hit. Mets up 1-0 after one. Two strikeouts in the first from Steven Matz. He faces 5, 6, and 7 for the Nationals as we lead off the second inning. It's Reed Johnson first.
Matz is coming out throwing his fastball. Reed Johnson, of course, the veteran journeyman outfielder. Solid player, good bench outfielder. Braves, Cubs, he's been around.
A one on the ground. Walker with the backhand, fades, throws in time for the first out.
Nice backhand by Walker here. Played the long hop. See him run back, push back to get the longer hop. Threw off balance. Nice play.
He's looked good out there at second.
Well, he can play second base. We're going to see a lot more consistency defensively this year at second base. I don't put much stock in fielding percentages, although they do count, and I'll say why. Usually, the guys with great range are going to have more opportunities to get to balls and make plays, thus more chances to make errors. The guys with limited range, they're not going to have as many chances, so therefore they're going to make less errors. So I don't put a lot of stock in the fielding percentage. I just look and see how much ground they cover. All they care about is their range. You want the best range in all your positions, really, except catcher. Ideally, you want the guys that can cover the ground.
1-2 fouled back by Campana. We thought maybe we would see Asdrubal Cabrera today, Keith, but he should be back tomorrow. Neil Walker playing with Asdrubal Cabrera. It almost hasn't happened in spring ball. Campana on the ground. He's fast. Another test for Walker. Gonna have to throw it over quick to first, and he makes the second out.
Well, they're going to take it real careful with Cabrera. Asdrubal. They're not going to rush him back. They're not going to want him to re-injure. They're going to, if he misses a few games or a week in the season, it's a long year.
He hasn't played since March 10th. It's a 1-0 count to Trey Turner on 96-mile-per-hour heat from Mets.
Nice.
And Turner also can move. It's Wright firing over to first. Some nice infield defense from the Mets. 3 ground balls served up by Mets. 2 scoreless innings from him. Walker, Conforto, and Rosario for the Mets in the home half of the second inning. Mets up 1-0 thanks to a David Wright home run in the previous half.
Beautiful clean inning by Mets there, that second inning.
Starts with Walker. He made 2 of the putouts in the previous half inning. Only 171 this spring.
Just not real strong on Walker hitting 5th. I think he's more of a second place hitter. I know that that's sabermetrics, the number 2 hole. They love, they feel that well, they don't feel, they'll say stats back it up. But I'm sorry, guys, that At Sabermetrics, I do not agree with you on that. And we can agree to disagree.
That's to Taylor. He's had a lot of action in center field. Another leap, and this time he can't come up with it. Walker racing around second. He's heading for third. The relay to Turner. And Neil Walker slides into third base with a triple to lead off the bottom of the second.
Now the fastball, and they're on Petit's fastball. And I thought that Taylor had it, but he got a little gun shy at the end there near the wall. And this is the last thing you really want to do in spring training, at least me. I'd never wanted to hit a triple. Didn't want to have to run that extra 35 yards. Just got a little bit gun shy. David Wright cheering on.
Walker's done that twice this spring. Now it's Conforto. So where should Walker hit in the Mets lineup?
I think he's perfect for the 2-hole. I really do. I know that Walker his whole career has been a good clutch hitter, but to me he's not. He's either a 2-hitter or a 7-hitter. And David Wright, in my mind, is not a number 2 hitter. So
where do you put David?
You could drop David down in the 5-hole behind Duda. I just think with David up on the 2-hole, it just weakens the bottom half of the order. With Walker hitting second, and you can go Cespedes or David third, Duda, Cespedes or David, and then Conforto. I think it just lengthens that lineup, makes it stronger, deeper. And like I said, if the 2-hole is going to have most RBI chances, and the stats they will tell you that at Sabermetrics the stats do. You can't tell me at most of his first inning at bats for the 2-hitter you're coming up with no one on base or no one in scoring position. I want my best RBI bats up with a chance to drive in a run every at bat.
Wright could be a better on base percentage guy than Walker.
That's a point. So, but David's driven in runs. So if David comes back to his old form, I want David in the middle of the order. I don't want him in a setup role. But we're breaking from tradition, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm just here. I observe. I have my opinions, and you guys do what you want.
1-2 to Conforto, and he rips that one to deep right field. That is landing late on the berm and gone. It's a solo home run, or a 2-run home run for Michael Conforto, making 3-0 Mets.
Well, I guess that back's okay. That was crush. And Petit thinks he can get away with this fastball. Oh, that was a little slider. That is very quick with the hands inside. And you know how I feel about this guy. That's up the top of the berm. He can hit. He's got a beautiful swing. We'll take a peek here. I think it's a slide ball. It's a fastball. He's not throwing it by anybody. He better go to plan B.
And now Rosario to left field. Campana back to the track. And he has it for the first out.
And then some loud outs.
Hard contact from every Mets hitter here. For Conforto, it was his second home run of the spring. Almost made it to the walkway there in right field. Johnny Manel's turn on his birthday.
Not a bad birthday. They have it on Easter.
30 years old.
Most people, the great majority, have Easter off. Not baseball. Baseball's part of the summer fun. Don't get July 4th off, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Those are the big draw days.
Swings through the 0-1. Usually you're off on a Sunday if you're working 9 to 5 midweek anyway.
Oh, sweetheart. There you go.
We'll see Matt's at the plate. Mets starting to use their pitcher in the 9 spot in spring play. And Manel is down on strikes.
Big long finger. There's a slider. He had to change the program, but he was just getting lit up.
Nice ovation for Steven. No batting gloves for the 0-1. Right side on a few hops, and it's past Turner. Steven Matz is aboard with 2 outs.
You know, with all this publicity about this great superior starting rotation the Mets have, no one hit the lip of the grass and came up. No one talks about how I think it's the best hitting rotation in the National League, if not baseball. They got some guys that swing the bat. DeGrom, Harvey, Matz, they all, and even Bartolo could handle the bat.
I mean, look at the difference. They went towards the bottom of the league in 2014, up towards the top for pitchers hitting in baseball.
You see, you read the articles in the offseason that really concern me. The commissioner considering putting the DH in the National League. I would plead with the commissioner not to leave it as is. It is the joker in the deck. The pitcher, when he has to hit, he has to run a runner over. He can get a base hit, help himself. You take that away from the game. So I would urge the bosses on Park Avenue to keep it the way it is.
Batted in the AL since the 70s.
You know, now they'll call me an old dinosaur right now, but I'm used to it. I'm bulletproof.
Granderson up the middle, and that's Espinosa. Plenty of time, and that completes the inning. A couple more runs for the Mets. Some of the regulars contributing with some power. Neil Walker hitting it hard off Petit, making it to third. Get to Citi Field on Sunday, April 10th, to watch the Mets battle the Phillies at 1:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets rally towel. Plus, it's the first Family Sunday of 2016 where all kids 12 and under can run the bases postgame in the Mr. Met Dash. We're going to see 86 throwback uniforms from the Mets on Sundays at home this season.
Yes.
That's a popular jersey.
Just don't do it on the road jerseys. The road jerseys will be played in were terrible. Had the script writing on it, the handwriting. I hated that uniform. And had the piping on it. The old Met uniform, which had the New York on it, like the span of a bridge, and the piping, the old-fashioned piping, I thought was a great uniform.
First up, Jose Lobaton for the Nationals. Steven Matz pitching here in the top of the third.
Yeah, look at that. There you go. That's a roadie right there.
Not your favorite?
No, I just don't. I didn't like the shoulder piping at all.
Do you feel that, the shoulder piping?
No. There's the old home team one, and we didn't have to do it. We had the pinstripes. I forget. It's been so long. You get old, you forget.
Lobaton weakly right side. Matz is going to take it himself. That's one away.
Well, Matz is very, very good athlete. Very quick off the mound. I like the way he's throwing today thus far. He's throwing his fastball. Pitchers forget his fastball makes your secondary pitches. You've got to establish your fastball, and then you can start mixing in your breaking stuff.
4 consecutive ground ball outs for Matz. He said his command was a tick off in his last outing as he faces the opposing pitcher, Yusmeiro Petit.
Kit Carter. That was a very sad loss, Gary. Losing Gary. Way too young. My age.
And that'll be special when you guys all gather up in May. The whole crew back in town.
Memorial Day weekend. Fantastic. I'm going to have all my family. All 3 of my daughters are going to come in with their families. I'm going to have a house full of Rugrats.
You're not talking about your former teammates, are you?
No, I'm talking about my daughters. I have 3 daughters. They're all coming in. I don't have enough room for my brother. I'm going to try to get a room for him at the American Hotel in Sag Harbor to come and make it a big family deal.
That's a punch out for Matz, number 3 on the afternoon.
Nice. 4-seamer again. He's throwing his fastball. I love it. I love it.
He's faced 1 over the minimum, so we get to the top of the order again. Michael Taylor struck out to start the game. And this is as hot as you can be in March. Taylor is now 20 for 41 this month. Save some of those.
Well, yes. The spring training doesn't count, but he's a guy right now that outfield is pretty crammed up for the Nationals. He's trying to get a starting spot there.
They added Ben Revere this offseason.
Right.
0-2.
We've also got Matt Dendecker, a left-hand hitter, so he's really the one right-hand hitter there. I think Span's a switch hitter or left-hand hitter.
Well, Span's gone. Revere is
Revere, excuse me.
Revere is a left-handed bat, I believe.
So there you go. If you're going to platoon, it's sitting there for Taylor. And you are right. Revere is a left-hand hitter.
They have Harper, the lefty, batting right.
Which means he'll get the lion's share of the playing time. He had a nice year last year. He hit 300. Revere splitting a Philly in Toronto.
0-2 coming to Taylor. Got him. Second strikeout of the inning for Matz, fourth of the day. Huge afternoon for Steven Matz. 3 scoreless and 3-0 Mets. Little ocean breeze on this Easter Sunday afternoon. Parasailing out there. Ever done that?
No, I have not. There's 2 in there, too. Be careful.
It's a good date.
Who you go up there with. We're getting no rescue up there when you're that high.
You're stuck for 20 minutes. David Wright homered in his first trip to the plate. That was back in the first against Yusmeiro Petit. It's 3-0 Mets. Also, we've seen a Michael Conforto 2-run jack in the second inning.
Well, here's the home run back in the first. We're going to see. Ball down the middle, David going the other way. I like to see that. That's David's strength, right center field.
His first home run of the spring, plans on playing in 4 straight games. It starts today against the Nats. Now hitting 4 for 14 this spring. Syndergaard uni with the pinstripes.
He's looked terrific this spring, Syndergaard. And like I said the other broadcast a couple days ago, Scott, he's in that weight room all the time. He is Syndergaard. He is a hard worker.
Right, watches the 2-2 high. Although Noah says Steven Matz's work ethic is second to none. I was surprised to hear that.
Nothing wrong with hard work. Pays off usually. Not a guarantee.
Wright stays alive. Hard work, but it depends what you're doing. I mean, Wright this offseason decided to switch things up with his routine, taking some spin classes, not just running on the treadmill. He said it's better for the back and less boring.
Well, I think in the offseason you should uplift your workout. That's where you really want to stay in shape. It's more maintenance during the season. You don't want to wear yourself out.
Hard again, center field. Taylor has this one measured up. And there's one away. Two well-hit fly balls by David Wright, and now Yoenis Cespedes.
Number 52, center fielder Yoenis Cespedes.
Hey there.
That might be a future third baseman. You never know. They got to come from somewhere, right?
Everybody going to center field this afternoon. A lot of testing for Michael Taylor out there. That included Cespedes. He covers a lot of ground.
Well, they've been trying to get Cespedes to go into right center field more, and you can see by the defense there. Look at the second baseman way up the middle. They're giving him that whole right side of the infield.
Kevin Long wants Cespedes to avoid the high stuff. He's been working on that this spring.
Well, he doesn't like it up and in. That's why. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
They did a drill where every time a pitch was thrown up high, you'd have to yell poison.
You have to say don't swing. That's how I learned to lay out that up and in fastball on BP. Don't swing. Don't swing.
3-1 is high and tight. He avoids it. And Cespedes is a one-out base runner for the Mets. So that brings up Lucas Duda. Entered the day 226 this spring, 1 home run. He's driven in just 2. It's been quiet for Lucas this spring. Haven't heard much about any changes for him, but he's going to be the main man at first base.
Well, he's going to play. He's going to get the lion's share. He'll have to play himself out of that position. I mean, he's got tremendous potential. Listen, he's hit over 50 home runs. Actually, excuse me, 57 home runs the last 2 years. So you're not going to take him out of the order. You just wanted to see him get that average. That hit only 244 last year, I believe. I'd like to see him at least hit maybe 260, 270. I think he's got the swing to do it. He just has trouble with the breaking stuff and the off-speed stuff. He hasn't made the adjustment yet. And there's his numbers. He's a 247 lifetime hitter. I think he can do 25 points better. I really do. He just has to learn to lay off that bad breaking ball and bad changeup.
And Petit has Cespedes caught in between first and second. The rundown is on. Espinosa puts on the tag, and that's the second out.
Well, this was not a great rundown. He took a chance there, tried to get a good jump. It happens. So 1-3 to 4 looks okay, but the fundies on that rundown were porous, particularly by the shortstop.
Where should Espinosa have been?
You closed the gap. He stayed anchored on second base. We'll show it again. I can give it a visual to the folks. You've got to close down the distance between the runner and the ball. And And watch Espinosa. Just don't give a heck about anything else. Watch your second baseman coming over to shortstop on the bag. Now run in. Close the gap. You don't give the runner another, 30 feet, 35 feet to dangle in there. If Espinosa comes and closes in 20 feet behind the runner, he shortens the distance. He gets backed up by the third baseman at second base. That's a picture perfect rundown.
Due to right side. Deep is Turner. And he makes the play, and that retires the side. Yusmeiro Petit recovers. He's given up 2 Mets homers, though. 3-0 New York. The Mets' upcoming schedule is brought to you by the Hyundai Seize the Moment sales event. This is the final stretch of spring training play before April 3rd. They open things up against the Royals, Keith, and now they found out they will take on Edinson Volquez in Game 1 of
opening day?
That's right. Opening evening.
Okay.
No Yordano Ventura. He's still battling the flu. He's going to miss the first couple. As Steven Matz fires one in against Denny Espinosa. It's 1-0.
That first game will not be televised on SNY. It's going to be on ESPN. I'm glad they got Volquez because he's a human rain delay.
That's a rematch of Game 5 of the World Series. Ian Kennedy Game 2. Not sure who's pitching Game 2 for the Mets yet. Terry has kept it close.
I like the matchups. I like the offense against those two guys, Volquez and Kennedy.
They signed Kennedy this offseason. Gave him $70 million for 5 years.
That's hard to believe for a journeyman pitcher. No offense.
Gave up a bunch of home runs last year at Petco.
What is the money going to be in another 10 years? I can't fathom it.
Steven Matz has been money on the mound, pitching in the 4th. It's 2-2 to Espinosa. 4 strikeouts already for Steven. Espinosa into right field. Granderson gliding. And he has it. There's one away.
Well, he got a hanger there and got away with it. And I was watching his Matz's reaction to it. He was mad at himself. Hey, you got an F9 there. He's so competitive on the mound. That's just a big hanger. He knows it. Well, you know what? You haven't got a big bomber up there.
Now Anthony Rendon, who flew out in the first inning to right field. Well, he had walked Danny Espinosa in the first. Went with the off-speed pitch on 3-2. That's the only base runner allowed by Steven.
A typically sultry South Florida afternoon. And we're in the shade. It's 89 degrees today at 2:06.
There's a lot of shade in the Tradition Field.
We're in the shade. We don't get any breeze. We're kind of backed away from the breeze.
Wright said this weather helps him. He doesn't get tightened up. Wonder how the cold weather will fare in New York when the season starts.
I like the heat always just to get in shape.
Ground ball. It's for Walker with the backhand. And he makes the play. There's 2 down.
Well, the sure gloved Walker. This scouting reports on him that anything he can get to is sure-handed. And we've seen that all spring.
Matt struck out Clint Robinson in the first to end the frame.
Good breaking ball.
He's ahead 1-2 and working quickly. Breaking ball gets away. So now you go with the heat. We saw this last time.
3-0. Why not? I don't want walks.
He's walked 8 batters this spring.
Curve ball, he got away with a hanger.
Granderson looking for it. We'll see if it stays fair.
That's a bomb.
And it's gone.
There's your hanging curve ball.
That's a home run. That's pulled into fair territory. It's a solo shot for Clint Robinson to put the Nationals on the board.
So there's your 3-2 hook. That's what we call a helicopter, right into the wheelhouse. Just kind of hovers. And that bat becomes a heat-seeking missile.
Four times a missile this spring.
So when you hang it, it just stays out over the middle, full extension of the arms on Robinson, who's really a very dangerous hitter. Nice changeup right there from Matz.
He had 10 home runs last year, Robinson. Now it's Reed Johnson. And Clint with a 272 average. A nice bench roll for a team that was very injury plagued. A few of those in the seats this afternoon. Bring your bunny ears to the park. Seeing some pitches squared up off Matz in the fourth. One-two coming to Johnson. That's a breaking ball inside the strike zone, and it's the 5th K of the afternoon for Steven Matz. He does let up the Clint Robinson homer. Mets leading 3-1 on Easter Sunday. Bring your bunnies. Neil Walker begins the bottom of the 4th inning for the Mets. They have a 3-1 lead on the Nationals. Home runs from David Wright and a 2-run shot from Michael Conforto. Scott Braun and Keith Hernandez at Tradition Field. A triple for Neil to start off the 2nd inning. This is a veteran player. Batting average in the 100s for most of spring. Now starting to turn it up.
Well, another one of those players that have multiple years of consistency. You never worry about a bad spring from the veterans that have been solid throughout their career.
Been one of the best power hitting second basemen in the game for the past 3 seasons.
He's going to have a little harder time at Citi Field hitting long ball. He's going to have to realize that it's a bigger ballpark than Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's fair, certainly fair, but not as big as Citi.
And that ricochets off of Petit, and that's going to be a base hit for Neil Walker, an infield single, and the Mets have a base runner.
You got to wonder that went off his wrist. He seems to be okay.
The glove?
He's okay. Is that who is that pitching coach? I know their pitching coach this year is, I believe, Mike Maddox.
It is. Formerly of the Texas Rangers, brought over by Dusty Baker.
Chris Spire, right there, the gray hair.
Well, they have a split squad.
Yes, he is the bench coach this year. Chris Spire, with former San Francisco Giant, Montreal Expo, competed against Chris for many years. Really a good fielding shortstop. Take one more peek at, I think it got the glove. Yes, it did. He's fortunate it didn't get his wrist.
Knocks the glove off his hand. That's the 2nd hit of the day for Walker to bring up Conforto.
Just seems like Petit is not tricking anybody with his fastball.
Michael lined up his 2nd homer of the spring to right field. Walker off first. Mets leading 3-1 in the fourth. Conforto's back acted up on Wednesday on a swing, he said, diagnosed with back spasms. And he returns on Easter Sunday.
I don't know about you. Are you starting to sweat? I'm sweating.
I've been sweating since 2 hours before.
I am dripping right now. It's so muggy. Thank God I brought my bathing suit.
Might need a t-shirt change halfway through.
Don't tell Kurt.
Nice slider right there. That's a wicked. That'll get a lot of good hitters out.
Second punch out for Yusmeiro Petit.
That is the best slider that Petit has thrown today. Look at this downward tilt. Downward break late. Tough pitch. Perfect pitch.
Next up, Ahmed Rosario. He flew out to left in the second inning. Signed in 2012 by the Mets. It was the largest international signing bonus in franchise history for the organization. I saw him play in Brooklyn a couple years ago, and he was one of the youngest players in the New York Penn League. He's been moving up the ranks as one of the young guys all the way through.
Nice.
Through the whole left side. That's a base hit for Rosario. Walker to second, and the Mets have two on the base path with just one down.
That fastball's not tricking anybody.
Is he finding too much at the plate?
He's not overpowering, and he's straight, and he's. All I can tell you, the Mets are laying the barrel of the bat on it. That's something you don't like to see if you're evaluating, and this is going to be your long man here.
Now Johnny Manel, who struck out in the second. Matt's on deck. Much better so far from Steven than the previous two outings. Oh, one taken for a strike. We've seen successful innings from Steven, though, in spring. It's just that one bad one came in the second against the Yankees. They tagged him for 5 runs in Tampa on Tuesday.
Well, they all count, whether you give them up scattered or in one inning.
In the air left field, Campana towards the line. He camps under it. That's the second out of the inning. And here comes Steven Matz.
Our good friend and colleague in the booth, Gary Cohen's watching. He's texting me and praising one of my comments.
Which one?
Thought it was very insightful comment.
Can you share which comment?
I will not share.
Okay.
I always like to get praise from Gary. He's the only real pro of the three of us up here.
First pitch to Matz, rolled on the ground to Turner, and that will sit down the side. 2 stranded by New York, a couple more hits. They lead 3-1 off a pair of home runs. Back to Matz in the 5th. 3-1 Mets over the Nationals, and Steven Matz will face Tony Campana to lead off the inning. This was the lone blemish in the previous inning. It's Clint Robinson connecting for a solo home run.
You can see hanging right above the belt, full extension of the arms, and there's Dan Warthen after that inning. See, he's get that arm out in front and snap it. Get on top, get it out in front and snap. Don't lag it behind. That's what I used to do when I pitched in high school, Scott. And I used to get away with it because the guys couldn't hit.
Did you pitch?
Yeah, I did. I actually signed as a pitcher, first baseman pitcher. I just threw gas. I had a good arm. Mix in a wrinkle every now and again.
We've seen Matz touch 96 miles per hour this afternoon.
I know everybody's enamored with the gun, and a lot of the players are too. They're always looking up at the board, and you know what? It's all about location. 92, 93, 94 is plenty.
Chopper left side. Rosario whips it over to first. There's one down. Don't some pitchers not like having a conversation between innings or even on the day that they're starting?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was daydreaming.
So Matt's having a conversation with Dan Warthen.
Yes.
In between innings as he faces Trey Turner now. Some pitchers don't want to talk about in-game strategy.
Veterans. Ron Darling was that way. Ron and Mel was not. Ronnie always states in the booth that Mel Stoudemire, the pitching coach in those 80s pitching staff, Mel wasn't a guy that bothered the pitchers during a game, left them alone. But this is a very young staff, even though the Mets staff in the 80s was very young when we made our rise in 84. But different philosophies, different styles of coaching. But I've always contend that the most important coach that's irreplaceable is the pitching coach. Hitting coaches, I think, sometimes can get you in more trouble than you can shake a stick at. But there's a need for a pitching coach. You've got to. It is a critical position.
It's ball 4 to Turner. Second walk issued by Matz. Now Jose Lobaton up next for the Nationals. They have one on with one out, trailing 3-1 to the Mets. All the scoring via home runs. That's pitch number 75. It gets away from Manel, and Turner will hop over to second.
Pass ball. You don't want to be doing this when you're trying to make a ball club. It's just a obvious pass ball.
And Turner takes advantage, puts himself in scoring position.
Well, let's see how Mr. Matz pitches in a 2-run ball game here with a runner on second.
Now 3-0 to Lobaton. And this is what he talked about, not having the little things affect him.
Well, he's throwing hard, that's for sure. He might be, don't want him to overthrow. Lobaton's a better left-hand hitter than a right-hand hitter. No power. Don't want to give this guy a free pass.
Hit a .199 last year in 44 games. And Matz finds it to a full count. Here comes pitch number 80 to Lobaton. That's past Matz. A charging Walker over to first. And there's 2 down with Trey Turner moving to third.
Very nice, coming back 3-0 to get him. And the sure gloved Walker at second makes that play look routine.
Number 52 pitcher, Yusmeiro Petit.
Another at bat for Yusmeiro Petit. A called strike 3, sat down the opposing pitcher for the Nationals there. Came back in the third. Matz goes after him with the fastball. A couple hops to Duda, and he avoids any trouble. Scoreless inning from Matz. The Mets have a 3-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th on a hot one at Tradition Field. 89 degrees. See if there's more bats from the Mets coming up. And we're Baseball is brought to you by Chase, so you can easily master the way you bank. And by Hyundai. Hurry into your local dealer for Hyundai's Seize the Moment sales event. Scott Braun and Keith Hernandez at Tradition Field on an 89-degree afternoon. Curtis Granderson leading things off for the Mets, the top of the order. He's 0 for 2. First pitch swinging in the air, right field. Reed Johnson looking for it. It drops for a base hit, and now Granderson will stop at second with a double on the first pitch in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, a little first pitch swinging here. Another fastball. Let's see, it might be a slider. No, it's a fastball. He's just not tricking anybody. Curtis really took to that leadoff position in the order. He just really turned it on around 2 months into the season last year and had really a great final 4 months.
Right with the home run in the first. Granderson sees as many pitches as anybody in baseball. Cespedes up next. Nobody's there.
Well, David's going to be looking to go the other way. Got a big hole there between. I would not have the shortstop. I mean, the second baseman holding the runner on. He's got to push back and cover ground. Growth there. I bet you he shaves after the game. David's never grown a mustache or facial hair as a Met.
Clean-shaven guy. Two is punched foul. The Mets are generally a clean-shaven team compared to some other squads. It's more about the hair on the head. Noah and Jacob.
I don't know if Gary Carter ever grew a mustache. I can't recall.
Wheeler's got some facial hair.
Yeah, well, he's always had a beard. I could never play with a beard in the heat. Like day like this, I just couldn't do it. There's some moss.
He might have gotten the haircut that he's been talking about.
I was in the clubhouse today before the game. Base hit.
Right, up the middle, base hit. Here comes Granderson. And the throw will be cut off. It's an RBI base hit for David Wright. It's the second RBI of the day for the captain. 4-1 Mets.
Hanging breaking ball. Didn't do much. Just stayed right in the happy area.
Now Cespedes up next. A free pass in the third. He was picked off. Flew out to center field in the first. To left field.
They are teeing off on Petit. He was looking for some dead red, and that was a home run swing. First pitch, swinging from his shoes. Another hanging. Oh, he tried to throw a cutter. Lucky he got away with that.
Cespedes in front of that one. Looking for his first spring home run. Wright's on first. And that's in the air. Infield, Clint Robinson. Called off by Trey Turner for the first out. And here comes Duda. That's going to do it for Yusmeiro Petit. Here in the bottom of the fifth, he'll be responsible for David Wright at first. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chase, so you can easily master the way you bank. Rafael Martin coming in. In comes Rafael Martin to replace Yusmeiro Petit. David Wright on first. Mets leading 4-1 over the Nationals here in the bottom of the fifth.
Well, Martin, you saw his numbers from last year. Only 13 games. Did not pitch well.
32 years old, the right-hander. And the first pitch to Lucas Duda nips the outside corner for a strike.
Nice shot at the ballpark.
Some clouds. No rain in the forecast. That's a preview of what's to come. We just saw a bunch of that off Yusmeiro Petit here in the first 4 innings. Two homers from the Mets bats so far, Wright and Conforto. You worked with Lucas a little bit last year.
Yeah, on first base, a couple things, and then just kind of helped him, gave him something to think about in his approach to left-handers. And he got off to a hot start last year. I'm not taking credit for that, but he tapered off as the season progressed. But it's pretty basic what he needs to do, and that's lay off bad pitches. Don't fish for bad breaking stuff, bad change-ups.
Lays off the 2-2. And would that combat some of the streakiness if he's able to avoid those pitches?
There you go. Better. Look at that. I didn't realize
better.
he had 285. Would you take that from Lucas? You're doggone right you would. 7 home runs and 123 at bats. That's around 28 home runs on a full season. That's terrific.
I can tell you the year before that he was 180 with 2 homers against Southpaws, and his first extra base hit against a lefty in 2014, June 25th.
That's right. I remember that.
Took forever.
Yep. Strike 3.
That's a called strike 3, and Duda back to the dugout for the second out.
Backdoor slider. He had a couple pitches to hit, fouled them off. When you don't. No, that's just a straight fastball on the outside corner. Caught him looking. Oh, look.
It's Oliver Perez warming up in the Nationals pen.
Just signed a nice contract.
$7 million for 2 years to be a National.
That should inspire all you kids out there to start playing ball.
Former Met. Hanging around the major leagues as a lefty specialist. The Nationals remade their bullpen. Neil Walker with a big day. Walker tripled in the second inning. It went over the head of the center fielder Taylor. An infield hit in the fourth as the ball ricocheted off the glove of Petit.
Oh,
and that's hit hard, right side, towards the track, but not enough. Reed Johnson hauls it in, and that's it from the Mets in the 5th. Good contact from Neil Walker this afternoon. It's a 4-1 Mets advantage after 5. 81 pitches from Steven Matz through 5. He's allowed 1 run from the Nationals. Mets have a 4-1 advantage as we've reached the top of the 6th inning. Michael Taylor at the top of the lineup. He's fooled him 2 times. Bringing more heat in the 6th. Matt's trying to put together his finest outing of the spring. This should do it, Keith. 1 more inning from Steven Matz.
Yes, I would think so. Bastardo's up. Cologne's gone 6 now on this in his turn. DeGrom went 6. Harvey was going to go 6, but he got knocked out. Syndergaard went strong. Yes, so actually DeGrom went further with 6 2/3. So it's all pitch count here. And I have a hunch, and I think it's time to ball 4 to Michael Taylor. It's time to take the reins or loosen the reins on this starting staff. They're a young staff. We've got guys coming off of Tommy John and all this now. Now we're another year advanced. Let's get 7 innings out of these guys. I hate to say that. I'd love to see 9, but it's not happening in today's game. And there's no reason these guys can go 9. They're big, strong, young men.
Opposite field, Granderson coming in. Makes the catch. He might have to play it first. He does. Michael Taylor was moving to second, and the Nationals are doubled up off the bat of Danny Espinosa.
Well, not good base running by Espinosa when you're down 3 runs. Taylor, excuse me. And you can't do that. But I'm sure I made that mistake a few times too early in my career.
Taylor's fast. Dusty Baker said he's going to be the 6th man off the bench. He called him as Anthony Rendon takes the first pitch outside. That Jason Worth, who still has 2 years left on his deal. 37 years old.
We got to keep Worth and Zimmerman healthy. Zimmerman can't stay on the field. We're talking about Ryan Zimmerman, who was going to be their starting first baseman. Moved over from third base because of the bad shoulder. He just can't stay healthy, and he's a big guy, big bat in that lineup. Worth too.
Only received 263 games from those 3. Zimmerman, Worth, and the man at the plate. That's ball 4 to Rendon. 2nd walk of the inning issued by Matz. And that will end his day.
Kind of gassed out here in this frame.
Rendon reaches, and this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chase, so you can easily master the way you bank. In comes Antonio Bastardo for the Mets. That's it for Steven Matz, as he's taken out with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Allows 1 run. He's responsible for Anthony Rendon on first.
Well, only gave up 1 hit, Scott. Gotta like that. And also 5 strikeouts in his 5 2/3. The only negative on his start today was the 4 walks. 4 walks in 5 2/3. There's a nice curveball right there. Thought he just ran out of gas in this inning. But much better performance in his last 2. No question.
Antonio Bastardo replacing him. The first pitch is a strike to Clint Robinson. 7 earned runs in 9 innings in spring training. He has the lefty-lefty matchup. Blooped into center. A few steps over for Cespedes. Quick work from Antonio Bastardo in relief of Matz, and the Mets have the 4-1 lead. Score is brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealer. It's 4-1 Mets over the Nationals. A couple home runs in this game from the Mets side. Conforto and Wright. There they are. Well kept.
What do you think? That looks a little sloppy.
5 out of 10.
David.
High five for Stevens.
Stevens is not pleased with his performance.
Oliver Perez, the former Met, facing Conforto, Rosario, and Manel.
It's nice to be a left-hander, isn't it? You can hang around. Got a nice contract, didn't he?
$7 million, 2 more years.
Well, that's a steal in today's game. $7 million in 2 years, so that's $3.5 million a year. That's like in my day getting a left-handed reliever for around $40,000 a year in today's money.
Couple strikes quickly to Conforto. Lefty bats last year against Perez. 183 batting average. That's his specialty these days. Three pitches and down goes Conforto, chasing one. They'll throw to first to complete the strikeout for the first out.
Well, Ollie has always been a side armor, and always been difficult for left-handers. He's got a little bit of that flair to him.
He didn't always have that.
Well, the Mets got the best years out of him.
He's become a strikeout pitcher as a reliever. His specifically against lefties. So now he faces the righty Rosario. All strikes so far. The young Mets shortstop with a base hit in the 4th. In the air, right side, Clint Robinson looking up to the sun. It's in play, and that's the second out.
Well, the wind's blowing out to left. It blew that ball back in play.
Logan Verrett up next for the Mets. Is that Verrett best starter?
Trying to get a spot in the bullpen. Verrett. Well, the Mets have 32 players left. They got to make.
Well, 32 if you count Wheeler and Edgin on the disabled list.
All right, so then they got 30. So 5 people are going to get cut before the week's out.
Manel is behind 0-1. And Travis d'Arnaud is on deck. d'Arnaud would be a pinch hitter for Mats, or for Bastardo, that is. Going the other way, left field, and that drops for a base hit. Rounding first is Manel and heading for second with a stand-up double with 2 outs.
Nice, going with the ball the other way. I know Manel didn't hit much last year, but Manel's a threat up there. He likes that fastball.
Is that a quick pitch?
Tried to.
Travis d'Arnaud up next. He's making a cameo with Manel on second. Tiant style, or Johnny Cueto nowadays.
Well, for you, Cueto. For me, it would be Louis Tiant.
It could be tough to get your consistency with a delivery like that. We've seen that from Cueto in the past.
Agreed. Particularly with Ollie. Ollie's been inconsistent with his command most of his career.
Three-one misses, and Travis d'Arnaud with 4 pitches heads to first. Two on, 2 down for the Mets, and Curtis Granderson will step up after doubling in the 5th and scoring thanks to the David Wright base hit. Granderson took the first pitch in the 5th into right field. Oh, trying to catch Manel. Can't see the shortstop behind you, so what, do you feel him coming?
You go by your third base coach. It's all verbal.
There's Manel with Espinosa behind him.
Well, there's the splits for Grandy last year. He really struggled against the left-handers. He's looking to improve on that. Well,
starting to lose it.
This is what you don't like. Now, you always felt when he had a pitcher that's throw 2 balls up and in bad, he's going to try to make an adjustment to throw a strike and try to go away. So it's always a good time to look away.
Right on deck. He homered in the first.
Good cut. Good 3-1 cut here. Just powered against power.
See what Perez chooses here with the 3-2 count to Granderson. And he fires a fastball for a strike 3. And that ends the Mets' threat. The K for Perez. 2 base runners. The Mets, though, with a 4-1 advantage after 6. Way to start your weekday. Join Suki and Corey for all the day's news, interviews, and more on the Pix 11 Morning News. Linda Church has the weather, and Caitlin Monty brings you the traffic every morning from 5 to 9 right here on Pix 11. There's Kevin Plawecki behind the plate. He replaces Johnny Manel, and Logan Verrett is the new man on the mound.
Well, we all remember Verrett's tremendous start, a very important start when the Mets rotation was really in trouble in Colorado. Pitched that complete game of all places, Coors Field.
Lifted right side. Here comes Duda.
Oh.
Yeah, Logan back in August on the 23rd. That's tough to do against the Rockies at Coors Field. 8 strikeouts, 1 run allowed.
Well, he's one of those guys. Chris Heisey, a pinch hitting. I think Dusty Baker brought him over. He was with Dusty, and Dusty was managing the Reds. Journeyman outfielder.
Heisey replaces Reed Johnson. Count is 2-2. He has a shot of making this team because Tyler Moore was optioned by the Nationals, one of their bench bats. Brett with 4 shutout innings earlier this week against the Red Sox in Fort Myers. Sean Kelly warming up for the Nationals. All the big money buys from Washington we're going to see today. From the offseason, Kelly with a 3-year contract to join the Nats. That's smacked into left field. And it is in fair territory towards the corner. Izzy will end up at second base with a double to lead off the inning.
Slider just didn't get much break. Up, out over the plate.
Matt Den Decker, the former Met, steps in for the Nats, trying to make the team as the bench bat and 5th outfielder. And he lines one into right center field. That's a base hit. Here comes Heisey. The throw to Duda. Instead goes all the way home to Plawecki. The run does score. It's an RBI base hit for Matt Den Decker. The Nationals cut it to a 4-2 deficit.
Fastball down and in, wanted it away. Nice hitting by Den Decker. And if you're Curtis Granderson with the arm, if you're going to throw anywhere, you got to make sure you don't overthrow the cutoff man, which he did in there.
Another new bat for the Nats, Wilmer Defoe. Den Decker, last spring training, was competing with Kirk Neuenhuis for that last outfield job. Sent to center, Cespedes heading back, and he makes the play. There's one down. Scurrying back to first is Den Decker. That'll bring up Jose Lobaton. He was really excited to join the Nationals last year because he said he plays with Steven Strasburg on the baseball video games, and that's how he learned his pitches.
Really?
No. A modern way to learn the staff. This was when he was on the Rays, and he would trade Strasburg to the Rays, and he would be behind the plate. A little virtual reality, per se.
That is a little beyond my pay scale there. I understand that one.
Well, the Nats will have Strasburg entering his free agent season.
Well, last year was the year that Washington loaded up. They thought they wanted to go for it and go for the win. They got Max Scherzer. They brought in a lot of guys, and boy, that season blew up on them. Very disappointing year for them.
And then so many players left. A very different looking roster for the Nationals. Jordan Zimmerman is gone. Ian Desmond. Doug Fister.
I call it that management cleaned house. Manager got fired. Matt Williams.
GM Mike Rizzo retooled. Lobaton takes the 0-2 in tight. Even he was hurt, actually. Mike Rizzo, with back surgery, lost 40 pounds since last year. right side. It's a double play opportunity squandered, but the play over to first is in time to retire Lobaton.
Well, Taylor made double play, and what you see here has happened is you let Walker let the ball play him. He got that in-between hop. He did do everything properly as far as staying in front, but he could have come in, maybe rushed a little bit in to get a shorter hop, but he did everything properly. He's not happy with himself. He knows that that's an inning-ending double play.
Instead, Dendecker's on second, and Andrew Stevenson in the 9 spot.
I'll be ready now.
Second round pick by the Nationals last year. Stats in rookie ball and A. Sent to center. Cespedes has the catch on the run. And that'll do it for the Nationals, who do get one. The RBI single from Dendecker makes it 4-2. It's the last of the 7th. The Mets have a 4-2 lead. Sean Kelly on the mound to face David Wright. And we'll go downstairs to Alexa Dapp.
Thanks, Scott. Well, Stephen Matz talked a little bit in the clubhouse a little while ago about his outing, and he said he felt good. He was really attacking the zone. Matt said what helped him was a 30-minute pitchers meeting that they had today. It was just a general plan, but he was able to use a lot of that out here today. And he said he's still working on some things, which is why that curveball to lefties ended up resulting in a home run. But he said that a lot of the humidity today is what's been getting to him. He said he hasn't pitched in conditions like that since 2014 down here, but he said once he started throwing pitches instead of trying to guide them, he got better results. In terms of those 4 walks, he just kind of ran out of gas. Again, it was the weather, but he said it really helped to get good results instead of having to go look for something positive. So this is a really great outing to build off of. Scott?
Thanks, Alexa. Right, facing a 1-1 count, out of gas again, and there's only one start left before we get to the regular season, Keith.
I hear you.
Sean Kelly now on the mound. That's something Terry talked about all spring here for Steven, getting in pitcher's shape.
Oh, David got tied up there. Wow.
Fooled by Kelly, who's become a strikeout artist.
Fastball in? I believe so. Just tied him up inside. That is a swing you don't want to use too often. Sometimes those pitchers can make you look pretty bad.
Kelly did that a lot last year for the Padres. Earned him a fresh contract with the Nationals. Struck out 63 batters in 51 1/3 innings. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. Jim Henderson warming up for the Mets, trying to make the team.
He's been given a great look, and he's deserved a great look. He's pitched really well and impressed me this spring.
Cespedes, fly ball left. Den Decker's out there. It's pushing him back to the wall, leaps up, and has it.
Well, you got to play deep and left. Ball's going to carry when it's in the air. Den Decker, a very accomplished outfielder.
Two down, and now Lucas Duda. He's searching for his first hit of the afternoon. If you're a Mets regular, you get to see just about all of the relievers today that you're going to see in the regular season. No minor league hurlers out there. Fly to center. That's Taylor circling. And he hauls it in to end the 7th. 1, 2, 3 go. The Mets. Good work from Sean Kelly, but the Mets are on top 4-2. Join Major League Baseball New Era and the 30 clubs as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your favorite cap on April 4th and share it on social media using hashtag #CapsOn for a chance to win prizes. Mets doubling up the Nationals 4-2. Here comes Jim Henderson. Just the 1 earned run in 8 1/3 this spring with a chance to make the big league club.
Oh, I think he's got a good chance.
Well, what's the competition? There's Sean Gilmartin. We just saw Logan Verrett. Only for one spot, really.
Robles is going to serve, what, a 2-game suspension.
Yes.
So there's your ticket right there.
Another at bat from Michael Taylor going after the first pitch. Sends it to left field, and Conforto is there for the first out.
Well, they said when Conforto got called up that his defensive skills were lacking. He played a really good left field last year. Threw to all the right bases, hit cutoff men, actually threw some guys out, made all the plays.
Espinosa walked in the first. And it's hard to avoid reading some of that. Conforto said it motivated him.
Well, he's going to have to get used to it, that's for sure. Playing in New York, they will look behind every corner and crevice and under every rock to find something to write about you. That's you're under a microscope in New York.
And a former first-round pick. Welcome Juan Lagares into the game. Alexa Dat with more on Juan.
Well, Scott, when the team acquired Yoenis Cespedes to be the starting center fielder, that moved Juan Lagares to more of a platoon role. But he really took it in stride. In fact, he came in this spring on a mission. He got to work as soon as the season was over, ramping up his cardio and changing his diet, which included cutting out any sort of late-night meals, and was able to drop 20 pounds, which he said the weight loss has made a huge difference. He now feels lighter and quicker in the outfield. It's really shown this spring, as we've seen. Terry Collins even noticed, saying it's the best shape he's ever seen the major leaguer. Said he really came in with that mission, and so far he's been really great this spring. It's a great start.
He even stole home on a double steal a few days ago. We saw him the other day, Keith, displaying the range. Was that
yes.
The 2014 version?
The Gold Glove version, yes. He's in better shape this year. And you know what happens with a lot of players is that when you're young, you're not filled out into a man's body. And usually that comes when you're 26, 27, or 28.
Espinosa, that's over Wilmer Flores, who's in there at second base. And it's a one-out base runner for the Nationals.
So and usually it happens overnight, too. I mean, I remember one year I was playing at 195 earlier in my career, and I came to spring training, and I finally came to spring training almost 215, and I about had a heart attack. I think that's what happened to Juan. And you know, then you got to realize. You realize right then that okay, I can't drink and eat anything I want, everything I want anymore, and I'm going to have to start working out in the off season. I'm sure Juan works out, but it's definitely a wake up call.
Henderson faces Anthony Rendon. He worked out with Jose Reyes this offseason. That's hit hard left side, and it's a base hit and more. Rendon heading to second, and pulling up at third is Danny Espinosa. Now two in scoring position for the Nationals. The double from Rendon.
Well, Rendon's a good hitter. Fastball down and in. He just turned on it. I think that's going to be it for Henderson. This is going to be a situational out here for the left-hander Blevins.
Yes, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chase, so you can easily master the way you bank. Jerry Blevins up next. In comes Jerry Blevins. He's allowed 4 earned runs in his 7 1/3. Just 5 innings last year.
Well, this is going to be what's in store for Jerry most of the year. It's going to be coming in. It's going to be one of those guys that's going to have left-handers. It's going to have 60 appearances and probably around 40 innings pitched, or 38. Just coming in for a left-handed out.
And his task is Clint Robinson. 6 for 32 this spring. He homered for the 4th time this month, back in the 4th inning against Steven Matz. That was the lone run given up by Steven. An Espinosa base hit, then Anthony Rendon doubled off Jim Henderson to knock him out of the ballgame. And this is more like a regular season scenario now to bring in Blevins for the lefty. We saw Familia in a save opportunity the other day.
Well, it's the last week.
Isn't part of the problem also facing the regulars? So if you have a relief pitcher in earlier in the game, early in spring, they'll still have a chance of facing the starter. If you brought in Familia in the 9th inning on March 15th, he's probably facing minor league players.
I just think it's all about early getting work, getting innings. Nice breaking ball. That's Blevins' bread and butter right there. That big sweeping slider. You can throw it hard. You can change speeds with it. Frank Viola had a curveball like that you could change speeds with. Frank had a big hook. A big old, let me see, what would be for me, it would be 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock hook, Frankie. And he could change speeds and get it to break and get you to chase.
And he walks Robinson.
And that's not what he's paid to do. And now he's got to face a very dangerous Chris Heisey.
With the bases full of Nationals. A quick chat. Heisey doubled in the 7th. Brought in by a Matt Den-Decker RBI single. Blevins was a National up until last year, right before the season began. The Mets added the lefty to their bullpen. The Nats were okay with Felipe Rivera, using him primarily as their lefty specialist.
No one up in the Mets bullpen, so it's Blevins' mess has got to get out of right here. He's got to get out of this.
Someone on the line? Call waiting. Hello?
Oh. I like the color of that phone.
It stands out.
There was a pitch to hit right there.
Right down Broadway. Missed it.
Blevins versus Heisey. Phone back intact. And that's to third. Nice pick by Campbell. He gets the out at second, and the Mets cannot complete the double play, so a run does score on the RBI fielder's choice. Espinosa comes in, and there's no instant replay review in spring training, Keith.
Well, nice play by Campbell. Good turn, but Heisey still runs well, and he is a tie base, goes to the runner. Boy, you want that double play.
So the Nationals creep closer and trail 4-3 in the 8th.
Now, number 21, the fielder, Matt Tindecker.
The Den-Decker base hit in the 7th brought home Heisey. Rendon at third, Heisey at first. Twelfth pitch coming from Blevins. These two were traded from each other a year ago. Two-one coming to Den-Decker. And a quick check over to first. It's an errant throw. Gets past Dom Smith. And Rendon will trot home. Scurrying around the base paths is Heisey and landing at third. That went into the right field area where the bullpen is for the Nationals. And it evens up the score at 4.
Well, very costly error right there. Just threw it away. Nothing Duda can do. And I'm sorry, it's not Duda. Smith, just a poor throw. Wow. You don't see that usually from a veteran. Not even close.
And Heisey gets 2 bases out of it. And Decker's showing bunt. And he did go around, so it's now a 2-2 count. Five hits for Washington, 9 for the Mets, including a home run off the bat of Conforto and Wright back in the first inning. Ansel Robles and the lefty Sean Gilmartin. Blevins doesn't get the call.
Close. Thought he had it.
Did it miss?
The helmet's in the way. It's hard to tell. I think it did. It's a tough one to take. Gutsy.
Den-Decker battling against Blevins. Count is full. Heisey's at third, representing the go-ahead run for Washington. Den-Decker trying to drive in a run for a second consecutive inning. Blevins delivers the 3-2. And Dom Smith with sure hands at first ends the inning. But the Nationals pick up a couple runs and even it up at 4 as we head to the last of the 8th. State BMW Center. Some power early on from the Mets. David Wright going the other way, and the ball left the park in a hurry. 1 inning later, Milo Conforto. That'll score 2. The Mets jumped out to a 3-0 lead off Yusmeiro Petit. They've scored 1 since. The Nationals caught up, and we're tied at 4. We're past 90 degrees, 91 now.
It's hot today.
Oh, yeah. This is Brian Harper. ERA south of 3 in the minors last year. His first appearance of the spring. He'll face Flores first. Wilmer replaced Neil Walker defensively. That's got to be tough. Flores basically choosing a different spot each day to work on. Saw him at first the other day. Now he's at second as a defensive replacement.
Well, when you're a utility infielder, you've got to work on your defense a little harder. And the more positions you play, the better you are, you're more valuable to the ball club.
He's behind 1 and 2 to Bryce Harper's older brother. Do you see the resemblance? Can't really see his eyes right now.
Well, Harper's got a beard all the time. It's hard to, you know, or a mustache. Got facial hair.
There's a good look. I don't see it much. The Harpers are from Las Vegas. That's where the Mets are headed this week. They'll play 2 against the Cubs. Jerry's Familia. A couple days off for him since the blown save on Saturday, or make that Friday. And Flores is rung up for strike 3, 1 out down in the 8th inning. Kevin Long is working with Wilmer on pitch recognition, and he's using Curtis Granderson as the example, showing him heat maps of where he should and shouldn't swing. He said his heat map looks like the state of Hawaii because he goes after pitches out of his zone. Now Conforto with the 2-run home run in the second.
Is that tied to global warming or what?
I'm not a geography major. Conforto in the air, shortstop. Rendon, the lone man on the left side, backing up. That's the second out.
Well, I'm sure they have charts of all the hitters, and with all the modern advantages today with video, computerization, that you can focus in on areas that the particular hitter will chase, where he chases. And it's a good thing to have there as a barometer to see where your mistakes are, but you don't want to lose your aggressiveness. I mean, it's like telling Manny Sanguian, who was one of the finest hitting catchers there was, a 300 hitting catcher, was a bad ball hitter, or for that matter Yogi Berra, and telling Yogi Berra not to swing at a high pitch. So it's a fine line. I agree that the better eye you have at the plate, the more you're going to hit with favorable counts. And I certainly had a good eye at the plate, and I use that to my advantage. But not every hitter has a good eye at the plate. A lot of guys chase. You just can't take away the aggressiveness of a hitter. It's just a very fine line.
Wilmer only walked 19 times last year in over 500 plate appearances.
He's not going to walk.
2-1 to Rosario up the middle. That's a base hit with 2 down. 89 connects off number 89. This could be the future.
Nicely done.
They love Rosario in the organization. It's Plawecki's turn. The Harpers had the pitcher and the hitter in the house. Bryce could practice all day. Oh, one sent to right. That's Heisey moving over to the line. And the Mets are retired in the 8th. Ryan Harper unscathed. And the Mets and the Nationals are still tied at 4. It's almost beach time, Keith. Perfect day for
it's a great day. A great day for the beach.
Muggy, you got a dip.
I can tell you the water's warm. There's Familia looking to bounce back from his last outing where he got really roughed up. Gave up, 3 runs, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Coughed up the lead.
The blown save on Friday. And came against the St. Louis Cardinals. Jerry says he feels fine. That was his first run given up of spring training. He'll face Wilmer Defoe. 3 runs, recorded just 1 out. Gave up a Randall Grichuk solo home run on Friday. And he was pitching on back-to-back days. That's sent to center. And looking back is Lagares. He measures the first out. We'll be back on the air Saturday, April 9th at 7 p.m. when the National League champs meet the Philadelphia Phillies. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Time Warner Cable pregame live right here on New York's home for baseball, Pix 11. And Familia starts off with a strike against Reed. That's also hit hard, but nice. Rosario jumps up and shows the athleticism for out number 2.
Very nice.
They're hitting him. Terry said the sinker wasn't sinking the other day.
No, it certainly wasn't. We noticed that. We marked that when the 3 of us in the booth. He did not have his sinker.
Long season for Familia last year. That was Taylor waiting on deck. Two-out pitch, right field, and that's a base hit. Sean Pleffner connects for the Nationals. They're not waiting against Familia. We'll see what Taylor does. Pleffner's out, Abreu's in to Prince run. Taylor is hitless on the afternoon. That's rare this month. He entered the day 20 for 40. The last game for Familia with the blown save ended up a tie with the St. Louis Cardinals. Then the Mets played yesterday. That was a 3-3 tie with the Braves.
Good breaking ball. Beautiful slider.
Familia is one pitch away from a much cleaner inning. He allowed the Pleffner base hit. Sat down the first two batters here in the ninth. Osvaldo Abreu off of first. And Familia fools Michael Taylor, who can just stare at strike three. And that retires the side. Here comes the gas. 4-4, bottom of the ninth. Today might be a tie game for the Mets. 4-4. This is Terry. Want to go 10, Keith?
No, we don't want to do that.
Nah, Nats want to do 9.
9. We're done. Oh, hey, that guy goes to the head of the class.
Ryan Brindley on. The Nats have more action in their pen. The Mets are 7-13-4 in spring training play. They are winless since March 17th. 9 games. Spring training ties for days.
At this stage of the game, the players are very, very anxious to get north. A lot of the guys, the pitchers really need more time because your starters have once every 5th day is the most they can pitch. I think a lot of the everyday players, they're ready, they're anxious, they're chomping at the bit to get north.
And that didn't run out. Robert Fish, number 97, just getting his work in. First pitch down low to Dom Smith. Seen Smith play a nice first base in spring training, and he's gotten some time. He's one of the Mets on the minor league list in action today. 5 home runs in the minors last year. Not the power yet.
Don't rush it. Florida State League is a league with a lot of humidity. The ball doesn't carry in the summer. He'll be going to Binghamton this year, and we'll see how he fares.
300 hitter, hits to all fields. We'll see if the Mets can turn anything into this 9th inning. No good on the first batter. Dom Smith grounding out to second. Chance to send the fans home happy. We haven't seen it in a while. I know the players don't worry about the result.
They had a 7-game losing streak, right? And so they've had 3 in a row. They've tied, correct?
March 17th, the last time we saw a win from the Metropolitans. So Smith retired, and now Alejandro De Aza.
Well, I'll tell you, he's had a terrific spring here. He's going to be one of the backup outfielders. Gives you a left-hander off the bench. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing.
No.
And he can hit lefties. That was his specialty last year. At one point, we thought that it was going to be Lagares and De Aza sharing some time in center field before Cespedes ended up re-signing. Doesn't bite on the 0-2. Played for 3 teams last year. Started with Baltimore, moved on to Boston, and ended up with the Giants. It's nice depth, though, for the Mets as a 5th outfielder to have someone that has started many games in the past.
You got to have a bench. You got to win with 25. You can't win with 8 guys out there and 12 pitchers. You got to have a bench.
Terry's figuring out the last few spots on the Mets. Popped. Shallow center field. Espinosa calls for it and gloves it. 2 down.
Well, the Mets' last chance here. This will be the final out of the game if Campbell doesn't get a base hit. Prolong the inning. It'll end in a tie.
11 walks this spring. He's hitting .282. Saw him steal a base 2 days ago. That was his 4th of the spring. Right side, base hit for the Mets. They have a 2-out runner.
That's what he does well. He can go the other way. I would never play him up the middle how they played him. I'd have to play Eric straight up. Seen him do that too many times as Lagares steps in.
.316 this spring for Lagares. See if there's a chance for that one, just out of the reach. So another life for Lagares, facing an 0-1 count. '15th pitch of the inning from Brindley. And that's popped as Pinoza again. Doesn't have to move much, parks and retires the side. We'll make sure this is a done deal. 4-4. That's your final score. The Mets and the Nationals played to a stalemate for a third consecutive day. And the Mets record now is 7-13-5, already with the most ties in franchise history in spring training.
Well, they don't count. It'll be one that will be forgotten as soon as the team breaks north. There's Lagares going in. That's a lot of positives today in today's game. Matz had a better outing. I thought a much better outing. 5 2/3. Only gave up the one hit, the home run, which was the one run. That was off the bat of Clint Robinson, a hanging slider. The only downside to his performance was the 4 walks. But I think all in all, Matz had a nice outing for himself.
He'll have one more before the regular season fires up. The game summary brought to you by Nissan. David Wright going deep in the first, followed by Michael Conforto in the second. There's the line for Matz. A 4-4 tie. The Nationals and the Mets are all done from Port St. Lucie, but we're not. We're going to come back. So more from Pix 11 after this.
What truck company